So, first of all, thank you so much for having me and for all this 4 year workshop that has been amazing. And also, I would like to thank all the colleagues for the contributions that have been really thought provoking. I will just introduce briefly what is Asian Egyptian medicine. It is one of the huge topics in our discipline because we have a lot of sources that helps us to understand and to approach this practice. It's true that most of the Egyptologists has approach that from a really scientific approaches, but for the last decades, there are other interest related to anthropological perspectives and ritual perspectives of how the healing practice was perceived by the Egyptians. It's true that we have a lot of sources that help us to understand a little bit more of this area of knowledge in ancient Egypt, as the book edited from Allen shows, because we have like a lot of archaeological objects and sources that help us to have a huge image, a general image of how the Egyptians perceive and lived this moment of their lives that it's being ill. Among all these sources, we also have texts that are the iatromatical or medicomatical papyri. For those who are not really familiar with them, these are some corpus of remedies that go with different specializations of topics, but they, from the Egyptology point of view, share a lot of textual features. And also, we can see some of the remedies that are documented in different corpora from different chronological and from the chronological span, and also from different places in Egypt. Normally, what we have is this, what you have in a screen, that it's like the heading, and also the description of the illness, the ingredients, and the procedure that should be done by the healer and applied to the patient. More or less, the division will be like this: the diagnosis, the ingredients, and the treatment. And for this presentation, I thought that it would be really interesting to analyze the remedies that have been attested, where the text is indeed part of the remedies that should be written in the skin of the patient. My This is the point of this approach is to see how the ritual healing was indeed a ritual, to try to understand how the patient perceived and got the information related to their healing practices. And I decided to use these sources because it could be interpreted as a written record of how the healing was developed. I worked through the medicomatical papyri from Middle to New Kingdom, from pharaonic periods, and all the list are the remedies I am working on my PhD corpora. It's true that there are not all the remedies we have preserved currently, but I have chosen those where the female patient is a testis patient, because it's the main topic of my PhD. And for all the practices and all the treatments that are documented, there's a bunch of verbs about that, but we can divide them mostly of. Oh, sorry, because I have like the Zoom information. That you have on the screen, that are the ingestions with verbs like unem, to swallow, to chew, to eat, or to swallow a liquid, and ointment with verbs like kes, urech, or erdi, bandage with the verb ud, fumigation with the verb cap, but also we have other verbs like refer to the amulet production, and even we have like the description of this action. And verbs like make, protect, or net protect can be also useful for identifying these procedures. And we also have the verb seha, that is the verb to write or to draw, that it's the main point of our research of this talk. Okay, because one of the results of this of this treatment related to the writing is the amuletic papyrus, and we have examples like this one in the Chester BT number 7, where the text, the remedy says that it's a document role against the remnant disease of 77 gods who open some with and some blanks that is really difficult to read, with the flow Nessie demon who are in the face of someone female, born of someone female, or 77 children born of Atum, open face. There's an invocation of all these divinities, and then says this spell should be recited over a female figure drawn. The point is, as you see, it is not really well preserved, but it's we can understand that there's like some sort of reptile and a figurine that has been interpreted mostly as female, but it's not really possible to ascertain. But interestingly, we have this that will be like the description of how this amulet papyri was produced. But we also have the attestation of the amuletic itself, as is the P. Daryl Medina 36. We don't know if they're like really connected, but at least we have like the same or some similar iconographical motif that is the same as we have in the papyrus Chester BT. The point is that there are some remedies where these designs are drawn in the patient skin, and I am just presenting that for you, and like also asking some, because I have some questions that maybe are useful if we share all together. The first example is this from the Ramesseum papyrus that it says, to make a child excrete feces, come to me gods, said Isis the goddess, behold you the fire has been kindled. My child belonging to his mother, the mother is the one who is guided, flow out painful feces, fall the ground, said drawn, because it's also like it's lost, with fresh ink in the child's belly. The point is that here, although we don't have the verb seha, we have the reference of the fresh ink with and also the place where this design should be drawn, as you can see here. Another example is this one that also includes, it is also referring to a child. In this case, says that another, attention, woo woo, is Christ, Nephthys shouts, wake up, foresee him, O Geb, father of the gods, thanks of the shouting of Nephthys, attention to me, as for the fever which has broken out against the child, let this child be safe for its mother, the rents one of the mother. Send me a man, send me a man. This spell is to be recited over 2 figures of Thoth, drawn on the hand of of a man in fresh ink, the face of the one turned to the face of the other. So this case is really interesting because we have not only the verb seha, that it's here, we also have this place where it should be drawn, that it's the hand of the patient. Technically, the verb is the noun is es, man, but could also be interpreted as the patient. And we also have the description of how the design should be done. That it's 2 figurines of Thoth, the face turn of one turn to the other. And the point is that aside of the description that it's over here, the scribe decided to draw the 2 figurines to leave no doubt of how the incantation and the draw should be done correctly to get the most the highly level of the efficacy of this remedy to cure the child. Same idea comes from the next remedy from the same papyrus in the number 22, and says that it's another spell of dispelling the ahu from the belly. Come to me, Mother Isis, on Nephthys. Look, I am suffering inside my body and the members there. Do worms interfere? Do they resemble worms? So said the goddess Isis. Come, come, Horus, look for anything painful in your body. I am the one who says, get away from you. Let these 19 signs be made with the aid of the two-barbed harpoon, provided with knots of barley, drawn in fresh inks, and let be given against the affliction from which you suffer. He, the spirit, will live by means of a fart from your hidden parts. This spell is to be recited over, and a design to be drawn in fresh ink on the belly of a man on shore sport in him. So this remedy includes also the design of all the signs that should be drawn in French ink on the belly of the man. But besides, we also have the description of how it should be made with the aid of a two-barb harpoon provided with knots of barley. So this is one of the questions regarding to these remedies is if they were like a permanent tattoo or were not permanent. It's true that it's taking into account that these drones should be placed in the to the body part that is affected, in this case with the Ahu spirit that it's here. Probably it will be a really nice experience for the patient to get a tattoo on this affected part. But since it is said that it should be with an harpoon, it could be just like drawn, but also it could be made like a hand poke. So, but it's true that the signs that you have here in hieroglyphs are not attested in tattooed human remains. But it's true that maybe in the future we could find something with these designs, and we could identify that this ritual practice was applied to this body, but it's like a gap we have almost currently. Another example is this one also from the Leiden Papyrus, the number 23. In this case, the remedy is not written in the skin of the patient, but it's true that we have some features that I thought it would be interesting to understand also the other remedies I have presented to you. In this case, it says, another, my belly, said Horus. What said by Isis? Horus said, I have eaten a golden apple fish on the border of a pool, the one holy to Re. And Isis said, is he the one who ate a golden apple fish on the suffering for his belly? And thus the small Ennead wept because of the suffering of his belly down the fatigable soul. This spell is to be recited, being written in a new dish with yellow ochre, to anoint with honey and to wash a man who suffers from his belly. In this case, again, the design is written down in the papyrus with all the divinities that have been invoked, and also some other signs that could be understood as protective, like the Udat eye. The point is that even though it is there are some these signs are not to be applied directly to the skin, they should the dish where these signs are drawn should be used to pour some honey and some water that will be used to clean the patient belly. So at some point, the signs are also put in connection with the skin of the patient. Uh, I have searched for like some pots or some recipes some ceramic bowls that could be related or could have these signs. And for as far as I'm concerned, I haven't found anything like that. But for yes, it would be something similar of this bowl that is documented in the Egyptian Museum. But I thought it would be also like more useful to have like the idea in mind that these signs will be drawn there, and then through the thought through the application of the water and the honey to the skin of the patient, the same aim than the others that being just being directly on the skin would be get. Another example is this from the Papyrus Lufo, and it says that the head over the need to expel the bad influence of a dead man or a female dead. Incantation to expel the substances and the root substances which are in the flesh body. Incantation against it, protect the back of the head. The protection has come. Words to be spoken over the images of the Isis and Nephthys drawn over any body part, the hearts of a man. In this case, sorry, because I don't have the papyrus to show you because it has not been published yet. There's an researcher that is working right now on that, so I am waiting to see that. But what we find is the same expression that is to be that the incantation should be pronounced over the images and to the goddesses are mentioned. It's true that we don't have the design of how the of which image will be, but we can. I have just reconstruct them, following some attestations in papyrus from the book, depicting the Book of the Dead, and other also the coffin text, etc. So I just brought to you these three examples. Probably would be the last one because, as you have seen with Todd, is the anthropomorphic figure with the head of the god. So probably would be the same. But since we don't have the image, I just prefer just to hypothesize about these three. And then last example is this one from Turin, that it's a long text as you see, but in this case it's a remedy against a potion of a stone, and it says as a treatment to be recited over an image of Atum and Horus Hekenu, an image of Isis and an image of Horus. It is to be drawn on the hand of the bitten person and licked by the patient. It is also to be painted on a bundle of fine linen and placed around the neck of a bitten person. The medical herb is a scorpion herb. Drink it with beer or wine. Let be drunk by the person stung by a scorpion. This causes the destruction of the poison. Truly excellent. Try and test it a million of times. Here what we have is also the description of the signs. There's not a real this design of the drawing, how it should be drawn. But interestingly, we have the connection of the two practices, the production of an amuletic papyri that I showed you at the beginning, and also the application of this treatment directly on the patient's skin. Then besides, it should be not only embodied directly on the skin, but also be licked, so that these divinities technically would be inside or would get inside the patients, expelling the venom. Here I just brought like to sum up briefly a compilation of all the signs that are embodied by the patient. The the first example it's applied to a child, but the all the others are applied to a well and the well the first three are applied to a child, and the rest are applied technically to a man. It's true that I have not found any attestation to a female body, but this is a common feature in the dramatical papyri because normally the patient is it should be understood as masculine until proven otherwise, and female patients are normally discarded in gynecological and obstetrician prescriptions. Interestingly, normally the affected body part is the same that needs to be to get the drone done. But it's true that when the problem is the body, in general, the drone should be done in the hand. And besides all these practices, the reading of the remedies in the skin of the patient should be enacted by the incantation of the remedy, but with the exception of the last example in the Turin Papyrus, where we have not only the description of the amuletic papyri, but also how the patient get this practice embodied directly on his body. Here's like a small schema of how these signs would have been in the body of the patient. Also, the first one where the is amnestis, I put the head, but as the text says, it could be whenever the patient gets some affliction. And it's interesting because there are some signs that would be more visible than others. For example, the figures of the tooth, and the other this example with a tomb and the Horus and Isis would be in the hand, so it would be like really visible for other people around the patient. Whereas these that are on the belly could be less visible if the patient is wearing some sort of cloth over his body. And with this, I am just forwarding to the final remarks. These remedies show a ritual practice, but just having instead of a pot or other papyri, we have the human skin as canvas. As I was saying, it's more likely to this practice was not permanent, since it should be applied over the affected body part, but the interpretation of these healing practices as something permanent should not be totally disregarded. It is really interesting that aside of being a typology of treatment and a ritual enactment, these signs were also visual markers, and we can identify them as having been like the patient with these signs would be someone who has been affected by the sickness, who has been also healed, or at least having participated in this healing procedure. This and also should be perceived as someone, but by us, but also by the members of his or her community, as having encountered the divine during ritual healing, because mostly these signs, as we have seen, are representation of gods and goddesses. And I believe that these signs might prove other contexts of semi-literacy and are glimpse of what literacy could also meant in ancient Egyptian society. Because the question that I am asking to you is that did the embodiment of these signs help in the transmission of cultural religions conceptions connected to healing practices? And this question came when I compared these signs with other texts, with other signs like these that are the key equipment marks on the Old and Middle Kingdom. If we following the work of these both authors, Thin and Haring, we can reflect that the literacy exists in different degrees and forms in ancient Egypt, that does not necessarily consist solely of writing or in the strict sense, but there are other practices that should be taken into account, and that there are other visual codes that could be understood as transmissions of information. So the point is that what prevents us to interpret the written remedies perceived in the mathematical papyri in the same terms. And that's all. Thank you so much for your time and your attention.